Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. This week I'll be restoring an old table for a client of mine. As you can see, its legs are broken and it's full of dings and dents. The old finish is most probably lacquer, but it's failing. This table used to sit in my client's big balcony, so the sun must have ruined the color. Fortunately, this is solid wood, so I'll be sanding a lot. I took the top outside to start working on the underside of the table. It is quite dirty and it may have been repaired before. I started sanding with 60 grit sandpaper. As this is the underside, I just want to clean and protect it. And of course, I want to repair it. My balcony is not that big, but you can always find ways in which to do whatever you want to do. Just follow your instincts and believe in yourself. Well, I needed to separate the broken bases from the legs. They are held in place with dowels, so I'll have to drill them. However, this will have to wait because Mr. Milo wants some love. As I always say, he is always too cute to ignore and always too smart to communicate that he needs cuddling and attention. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. It is free and you will help me a lot. If you want to be an active supporter, you can do it via Buy Me a Coffee or through my Amazon wishlist, or through the Super Thanks button. It is so encouraging to feel your support that I can't stop thinking of millions and millions of new videos. After removing the broken bases, I glued them and left them to dry overnight. Even though wood glue is super strong nowadays, I want to add screws to make it more solid. So I started drilling pilot holes. And then countersank the holes. These last 2 weeks were too cold here in Santiago, and it rained so much that I had to work inside. This weather delayed this video because I needed to sand and I was waiting to do it outside. Anyway, inside I have my heater and the most spectacular partner one can have. It was also my chance to change the sanding pad for my DeWalt orbital sander. I bought it through Amazon and it was only $12 for a pack of 2. It is important to change the pads because the Velcro starts losing adherence and sand discs fall in the middle of your work. The top of the table looks awful. It is full of dents. I started sanding with 40 grit sandpaper to get rid of the finish and as many dents as possible. Look at the grain. It looks like oak, but it has discoloration and many stains. If this table belonged to me, I would just seal it in Otis oil. Unfortunately, my client didn't take care of it in the past, so I'll try to give this table a nice stain to conceal all the discoloration and spots, and I'll apply at least 5 coats of polyurethane for exterior use. Then it was time to start with the legs. As they will not be noticed every day, I'll just remove the finish with 100 grit sandpaper. The legs are also in rough condition. I'll have to use wood filler to even out some dents. I always wonder why furniture ends up like this, even belonging to families that are well off. Fortunately, my client wants to rescue, restore, and love her furniture, and not throwing it into the trash. After cleaning the legs, it was time to do something with the holes of the old dowels. But first, let's remove these old metal feet. I'll use some dowels and glue to conceal the old holes. I'll be using screws in case my client or her family wants to restore it again in the future. Screws will be easier to disassemble. Then it was time to use wood filler to try to conceal all those damaged areas. The next day I had to continue working inside, so I started renewing the underside of the table. I started sanding lightly by hand to remove any remaining bit of glue. Of course I have to stop to give all my love to this wonderful boy. And here's how I cut the dowels, with this Japanese handsaw that one of my subscribers sent me using my Amazon wishlist. I would also like to thank my loyal and wonderful members. After sanding the wood filler, it was time to start assembling the legs. I clamped at the base and let it dry overnight. Meanwhile, I started staining the underside of the table. I used the color that my client wanted so much, American Oak. In the US, it is called Early American. I applied it, as usual, with a foam brush, wiping the excess with some paper towel. After some hours drying, I applied 2 coats of water-based polyurethane in satin finish.
The next day.
The next day after work, I decided to try to start assembling the table, but one of the legs broke. It had a big crack that I hadn't noticed, and I didn't hear it falling because of the sender and the earplugs I use when sanding. If you pay attention, I am sanding inside. I connected my sander to my vacuum cleaner. My vacuum cleaner is excellent and it sucks almost all the dust. I had to do it like this because it was raining and it was super cold outside. I sanded with 120 grit sandpaper and then 180 grit. I cleaned the top and started refinishing it. I started staining those fine bits that belong to the base. It must have been an old repair, or maybe the table was built that way, who knows. Now it is time for me to apologize in advance. I filmed all the process of staining and sealing with poly, but my memory card died. I can't believe it. I only discovered that when I was editing this video, so I will have to tell you what happened. I had to stain the top 3 times. There were so many stains that appear when tinting. I had to use these furniture markers and mix these acrylic paints to conceal most of the stains. Finally, I gave the legs 2 coats of poly and 6 coats of exterior poly to the top. Do you remember that poor old table? Here it is now in my client's house. It looks quite well. Please leave me in the comments what you think about this restoration. And here it is in its definitive place. I hope you liked this video. Thanks for watching.